Hello book besties, we have arrived at the beach house. I'm Brianna Sanchez, your next favorite romance author, and today we're going over our May reading wrapped up. I always get so lost on where to start. I don't know why I get lost every time, but here we are. As always, I will have the Fable app open so I could look at my exact ratings. This month I read 16 books. It was a great month for me. I did 10 audiobooks, 3 physical books, and 3 books on my Kindle. So it was a very good month for me, but obviously very heavy in the audio. Let's go over all of them. I'm gonna start with my audios. So my first audio that I read this month, I actually ended up buying the trophy book. So this is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated this a 5-star, starting off the month very strong. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid just cannot write a bad book. I was so invested with this character arc the entire time. Carrie's character was so interesting to hear about and to learn. Her relationship with her father, her relationship with herself, with the sport of tennis, and her attempt to have relationships with men, and just how she kind of navigated that. So that was really interesting to read. I really liked this book. I wouldn't say it's one of my top Taylor Jenkins Reid. It probably ranks on the lower scale, but it was still very good nonetheless. Next, I listened to a self-help book, which I feel like I haven't been listening to much of those lately, so I told myself I needed to get back into that because I used to only listen to self-help books. So I listened to Me vs. Brain by Haley Morris. That book, I ended up rating a 2.5. I wasn't obsessed with it. Okay, so it was a self-help book for overthinkers, and I'm not really that much of an overthinker. I'd say I overthink 40 to 50% of the things I do, but I don't live my whole life overthinking things. So I didn't really relate to a lot of it I feel like other people would, so that's why I ranked it lower. It was still a great book, and it was funny. I was laughing at multiple different times, but I didn't really gain anything from it, so I wouldn't say it was necessarily for me. Next, I listened to Into the Blue by Emma Brody. I rated this a 3.75 stars. I thought this was a very good book. I was super invested with the characters and their character arcs and finding out whenever the heck they were going to get together. It was kind of like a heartbreaking love story. I hate when it takes people so long to finally get together and all they realize is that they just did nothing but waste time. They could have been together for so long. Those books always are so sad to me because it just sucks to think about losing that much time with the person that you're meant to be with. It was very good. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I thought it was going to be a 5-star read for me, but it wasn't, so. Next, I listened to If the Sun Never Sets by Ana Huang. I rated that a 2.25. This was probably my least favorite book by Ana Huang. I feel like I waited a little too long to read this from when I read the last book. So it's really weird how this is set up because in this series, the first book is about a couple, and now for the second book, which is the one I just finished, it's about the same couple getting back together after so many years. And I love the whole concept of it, and it was very well. I loved the characters. I loved everything about it. I think I just kind of messed up with the fact that it was on audio, and the girl's voice was alright. It wasn't horrible, but the guy's voice was really uncomfortable. This is why I try not to read that much romance in audio. I tend to read fiction because I hate the dual point of view. But that one was probably my least favorite audio. It was so uncomfortable to listen to. And anyways, I kind of forgot the story. I remember the bones of it, but I feel like I forgot bits and pieces of it. And then also, these stories are both, this series is written in third person, and that's not how Ana Huang's writing normally is. So, I don't know. I find it very weird. But the premise of the story was good. It was where she's an interior designer, and he's living in the city, and he hires her but he doesn't know it's going to be her. And then once he sees it's her, he's like, oh my god, we need to get back together. And he like quadruples her pay so she can't refuse. And they're stuck together and like working together on this project of redoing or decorating his apartment. And I don't know, it was definitely good, but not my favorite. I listened to And Now Back to You by V.K. Borison. I rated that a 4.25 stars. I was so happy with this read because first time caller for me, I think was a 3-star maybe. And so I was really hoping that this story would be better because I really enjoyed B.K. Borison's book Good Spirits during the holidays. I thought I wouldn't really like her writing because First Time Caller was just alright for me. Like, the story was good. I just didn't know that I liked her writing that much. But then I read Good Spirits and I loved it. So now when it came for And Now Back to You, I loved it. I loved the story so much. Delilah and Jackson were both great characters, and I'm excited to continue reading more of V.K. Borison now. I think between these last 2 books I've read of hers, she has definitely redeemed herself. I also found it much easier to follow along on audio, so maybe that's what I could do for her writing so I could still really enjoy it. I don't know. I find it so interesting how like it's a totally different experience if you listen to or read something, but I definitely really liked that book. And that's weird because that's a romance book and it was dual point of view, but it was really good. I don't know. I really liked it. Next, I listened to The Real Deal by Caitlin Devlin. I believe this was her debut novel. I found her on Instagram, I want to say like a year ago, and I was following her for a while because her stories sounded so interesting. I can't even tell you how interesting her promotions made her book seem. Unfortunately, I rated this a 1-star. I don't say that lightly, especially with a new author. I'm not trying to hate. I was a new author at one point. I still am a new author, but I didn't love it. I don't know. I found myself like begging for it to be over already. I just wanted to give it a full chance, but I could barely follow along. I feel like for this first book, there was way too many characters to kind of remember, and you're just kind of like thrown all of them like at once, it felt like. It's basically like this girl that was on this reality TV show as a young girl. Traumatic stuff happened to her during that time. So now there is a reunion going on where she is forced to see all the girls she was on the show with again and the people she used to work with. So all these memories are coming back and you're learning like all about the past, but you're also having to deal with like the present. And there's just a lot of characters, and I don't know, it just was not for me, to be honest. I also read her next book, Born for This, because like I said, her books were just promoted so well and I really wanted to support her. But unfortunately, I rated that a 1.5. It was definitely better. I could see the growth in the writing. I could see the growth in just the story in general. But it just wasn't for me. I don't really know why I didn't like it. The story was super interesting though. It was this girl who is becoming an actor, and her whole life her mom has talked nothing but bad things about her aunt, and so she never grew up knowing who her aunt was. And then she found out that they were going to be making a movie about her aunt, like a documentary about her aunt and about her life and her love life. And so she's like, I'm perfect to be casted to play her because I look exactly like her. Apparently they look identical. So she creates a relationship with her aunt. She ends up getting the part, and it's just like this whole thing that was a really good story. I just didn't love it. I couldn't tell you why. I didn't find anything funny. I don't know. I just was like, when is this done? Like, I was just bored. Next, I listened to No Matter What by Cara Bastone. This was amazing. I don't know why I didn't rate it a 5-star. I feel like there was just like a little something that was missing for me. I rated this a 4.75. Like I said, just a little something was missing there, but this was so good. This was my first Cara Bastone book. I will be continuing to read her right from the start. It was hilarious. I was engaged. The writing was spectacular. I was so immersed in this story, and I was not expecting that this is what the story was going to be. The way it ended up becoming was literally so good. It's like, it wasn't like your typical romance book. I don't even know if this is a romance book. I feel, okay, it is definitely a romance book, but it also feels like on the lines of fiction, but no, it's definitely a romance book. And it's this couple that had a traumatic experience. They both are suffering from PTSD. And so they accidentally, it was like a misinterpretation trope, split up. And they're not like officially split up yet where they like go through the divorce, but she thinks he wants to split up and he thinks she wants to split up, so they kind of are apart for like an entire year until they finally start actually communicating. And that's when things start to pick up, and I'm not going to go into more detail, but definitely pick that book up if you guys haven't. This was, I believe, a 5-star for Sarah Crowley, so I was like, oh, I need to read that. And that did not disappoint. That rec was so, so good. Next, I read How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. I love Catherine Walsh. I read Holiday Romance and Snowden by her, and I loved those books. This one felt a little shorter for me. I rated this a 3-star, but it was still a super good book. I loved the whole idea of it. Basically, this guy is an editor, and he's told he needs to go to Ireland to find the daughter of this old famous author that passed and ask her to like move along in the process of writing his last book, her dad's last book in the series that he had left behind. Obviously, lots of things happened. There were so many funny lines, so many funny moments. I hope there is a part 2 because I will read it. I feel like if there is, I know who it's going to be about. So that's why I was saying like I hope there is, because I could already picture there being a part 2 with those side characters. But it was very good. Just still a 3-star for me because it wasn't anything super crazy, and I wouldn't like recommend this right off the bat, but I would recommend it, you know, someone was into something like this. And lastly, I read Remarkably Bright Creatures. I have been wanting to read this for a while. I was a little iffy about it, you know. I feel like a lot of people are when you hear that the octopus has a voice. But it was not in a weird way at all. It was so good. It was amazing. Such a beautiful story. Not what I expected at all. I was completely mind blown. I am very excited to watch the movie. My parents recently watched it, so that's why it got me into the mood for wanting to read it and move it up on my TBR, because I really want to watch the movie now. They loved it and they both told me they cried. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna need to read that now. Super, super lovely book. I ended up rating that a 3.75 stars. It didn't hit for me to quite be a 5-star, although it had such a good ending, but it was still really good. At the beginning, I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Like, who are these different characters and how do they relate? And then it's like, of course, obviously it's not unpurposeful. So those are all the audiobooks I read. Now let's move on to my physical books. So first and foremost, I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This was one of my buddy reads with book bestie Sarah. If you cannot see my annotations, I had some good ones. This did not hit as well as Part of Your World and Yours Truly, but this one was really good nonetheless. At the beginning, I was like, when are we getting to the good stuff? Honestly, it didn't get good for me until the main character Emma got sick and Justin went over to go take care of her. That's when things started to pick up. I'm just gonna say one thing and one thing only, and this will probably get you to read this alone. So Emma is a travel nurse and she is staying in an Airbnb on, I forget the name, Lake Minnetonka. And this Airbnb is on the other end of the lake from where the owner's house is. So you have to take a boat to get to the Airbnb to and from, and to go to work every day. She had to take the boat back, then get in the car, like this whole thing. Well, when she was sick and she wasn't answering and Justin was worried about her, he didn't know how to get across because the boat was on her side. And so he was looking to steal literally a yacht, anyone's boats, anyone's jet skis, anything he could find. But of course he needs keys for that, so that wasn't available. So he finds a unicorn floaty and takes a paddle from someone's kayak and literally paddles on a unicorn floaty the whole distance of Lake Minnetonka. And what the book says, that is not a small lake. So that just shows you if he wanted to, he would. That was so good. I loved that part. Next, I read Nora Goes Off Script. I was so excited about this. Annabelle Montague's writing was very different for me, but very good. If you want to see my reading vlog where I read this in a reading vlog called Spotify Picks How Much I Read for the Week. So go watch that, and then you could see my reactions and opinions on this. I ended up rating this a 3.75. I really liked the story. It was really unique. It wasn't anything like I had read before, and so that was really cool to see. I don't know, I found it to be very interesting, and like I said, just her writing was very different. But I will continue to read her books because they were just very fun, they were quick, they were easy. So not much goes into it, but it was really good. And lastly, I wasn't expecting to read this month, but I read Direbound. Have you guys heard of Direbound? Yeah, so this is basically Fourth Wing, but with wolves. I don't know if you could tell what I rated this. A 5-star, of course. So I literally had to get a limited deluxe edition of this book because that's how much I liked it. There is some beautiful art in here, and if you haven't read this, you need to read it. So I wasn't planning on reading this because I have so many books on my TBR. I'm like focused on summer reads now. But I did have a friend ask me if I wanted to go to a book club that was reading this, and I said yes, but apparently you had to buy tickets, and it was this whole thing, so we didn't end up going because when we went to go buy them, they were literally already sold out. I was already too invested to not continue reading. This book was so good. I'm already on the second book, but it's gonna take me a while to finish because like I said, I'm really focused on my summer reads, but it's so good. You guys have to read this. Like, that's the only way I'm gonna describe it to you. Fourth Wing, but with wolves. I don't even know what else to say. Like, literally just go read this. This is so good. I got book bestie Sarah to read it, and she got one of her best friends to read it with her, so they buddy read it, and they both read it so fast. They both said it was amazing, and they're both already on book 2 as well. So that should tell you how good it is. I also read Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is a buddy read with Sarah as well. We did 2 buddy reads this month, so that was a good month for us. And did lots of annotations. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. This is probably my second favorite Emily Henry book now. I rated this a 4.5. I believe I put 5 on Goodreads, but then I put like 4.75 on Fable or 4.5. But I'm like more leaning towards a 4.5. This was a really good book. Basically, if you haven't read it, her fiance and his girlfriend break up with them and they get together. So now these two are left like, what the hell? What do I do with myself? And she's now homeless, so she asks him like, do you have room in your apartment? Like, do you need a roommate? So she moves in with him, and the rest is history. That was a very good book. You know my taste on Emily Henry. That one was a good one. Now for my Kindle reads, I read King of Gluttony by Anna Huang. That came out literally days before I read it. It was amazing. I rated it at a 5-star. One of my higher ranked Anna Huang books. I was so obsessed with Sebastian Laurent. Even our female main character, I loved her so much. They were both amazing. It is childhood rivals to lovers romance, and when I tell you, it was just done so well. And then the conflicts that the main characters have to go through themselves individually were so good. Like, better than most books, I felt like. I don't know. I just really liked them, and there was just so much that went into it that I was just so happy with it. Like, I read it so fast. I couldn't put it down. It was one of those books that I was like, I need to keep reading it. I need to keep reading it. I can't do anything else. So that was a very good book. Next on my Kindle, I read this book that I had to get as a trophy book because it was so good, and that is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. This was a 5-star read for me. This book I was reading as a part of a book club that I'm a part of on social media, and this was so good. Literally, I read this on my Kindle, and I just remember like kind of not being into it at first. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing. And then the more I kept reading, I was like, yeah, this is still like pretty good. It was always very like engaging, but it wasn't like anything I was obsessed with. I was like, wow, is this gonna be my first like Rebecca Yarros book that I'm not like that obsessed with? No. Nope, that doesn't exist. This was so good. I sobbed so hard at the end. I can't even tell you how hard I sobbed. It was just so good. I really love this book. So now there is not one book by Rebecca Yarros that I have not rated a 5-star. I don't know what she puts in her books, but it's addicting, so. And that is it, book besties. That is my May reading wrapped up. That was such a good month for me. I was very, very happy. I did a lot of audio. I was honestly pretty surprised by how much audio I did. I'm not mad about it. I did some good stuff, and I did so many good reads that I had to get 3 trophy books. I don't know. I'm just so happy. But now we're at the beach house, and so next I'm going to tell you guys my summer hopefuls. That's right, you heard me. Not June hopefuls, summer hopefuls, because we have a whole summer here in Sanibel Island where I'm going to be reading and reading and reading. Nothing else. Just reading. So go watch that video next because you guys won't want to miss that. I'm going to have tons of summer recs on there for you guys. Stay tuned for my channel because from here on out, I am going to be a beach bum. So join me this summer where I'm going to be having some really, really good summer reads. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, besties. I hope you got some good recs from here. Please go read Diarybound. That's my one thing I have to say out of all those books. Go read Diarybound right now. But I love you guys so much. I hope you have the best day, and I'll see you in the next video.